I wasn't always ready to speak out. But now, I think it's particularly important because I care about my community and I want to be an example to show that it's okay to speak up. And it's not just okay, we must. My sarcoidosis journey began when I was a mother for the first time. My pediatrician noticed that my eye was red as this sweater, very red. And I thought it was just exhaustion, but she told me I should get it checked out. And what I found is that I had an inflamed eyeball, ocular sarcoidosis. Because it can appear in any organ or multiple organs, the symptoms vary. And it can impact people in many different ways, which makes it difficult to diagnose. For 16 years, my sarcoidosis was pretty much in remission. I felt great, and I even skipped a couple of appointments with my general practitioner because of COVID and just life and feeling good. Then 6 months ago, I showed up for my annual, and my general practitioner noticed a heart murmur. She sent me to a cardiac specialist, and we did an ultrasound and discovered that I had an enlarged heart. And not only was my heart enlarged, my heart function had been reduced to 15%, which is well below the 30% standard for cardiac failure. Within 2 months of my cardiac sarcoidosis diagnosis, I had a surgeon implant an ICD, an internal cardiac defibrillator. Had I waited any longer to go to the doctor, I don't even want to think about what the consequences could have been. I feel so lucky, so privileged to have been diagnosed, to have a general practitioner notice what was happening and send me to a specialist, because we know this is not the experience of many African American women. The goal of the campaign is to raise awareness among African American women and providers to improve diagnosis, treatment, and outcomes for African American women. The Ignore No More theme resonated with me quite personally because it is so multifaceted. It speaks to the patients, no longer ignore your symptoms or needs, but it also speaks to the physicians and the medical community. No longer ignore Black women. We need better care and treatment to close these gaps in care. There are 3 things we want you to do: ask, engage, and connect. Ask. Ask about symptoms, learn about the disease, treatment options, learn your family history, and be aware of your risk as African American women. The more we know, the earlier we know it, the better we can do in preventing and or treating these diseases. Participation in clinical trials is the only way to ensure the medical community acknowledges us and creates treatments that are effective for our community. There's a justifiable distrust of clinical trials and research among many African Americans. Clinical trials are not always taking experimental drugs or drawing blood. They can be as simple as participating in surveys. By not participating in clinical trials, we're missing out on the opportunities to learn how these diseases and treatments impact us. Talk with your doctor. You can find a list of clinical trials on sarcoidosis on FSR's website. Join the FSR patient registry to help grow the data around the experiences that African American women have in living with this disease. Start the discussion. Connect. Connect with the sarcoidosis community through FSR for support and education. to stay up to date on all things sarcoidosis related. No longer ignore your health or information about health issues that may impact you or a loved one. Our community tends to shy away from discussing our health issues in detail. We must speak up and educate ourselves and our family. Call the disease by its name, not heart problems. I have cardiac sarcoidosis, and here's what that means. I'm speaking out, not hiding. We can no longer afford to ignore.